Welcome to HANGXIETY with Lisa T. I'm so glad you are joining me on my morning anti-anxiety routine as I dissect whatever issues or news stories from around the world and in space happen to be inhabiting my brain on that particular day. I'm Lisa Timmons, or Timmons Lisa, depending on how you know me, and I like to listen to soothing elevator music while processing some of the most absurd, terrifying, celebrity-obsessed, full-blown late-stage capitalism, climate change, disaster-based news you can possibly imagine, while also narrating over it in a gently informative, classic radio-style DJ voice because, hey, sometimes you just need to hear it that way. Happy Friday morning and welcome to the very first episode of HANGXIETY with Lisa T. I'm your host, Lisa Timmons, and I'm so excited to talk with you about what news stories made me the most anxious this week, as well as how I managed those pesky feelings to appear before you, the calm, cool, collected woman that I am this lovely Friday. Let's get started with a quick rundown of today's top stories. So I just want to give you a trigger warning. To start, I'm going to be discussing the Danny Masterson rape trial sentencing for my first story in depth, as well as the increasing scrutiny of the behavior of many of his former That 70's show castmates are now experiencing in the aftermath. I'm also going to be talking about the WGA and SAG strike, what's currently going on with that at the moment. It seems like a lot of talk show hosts are experiencing some scrutiny. Drew Barrymore, issue Strikebreaker. Jimmy Fallon workplace drama exposed. Jennifer Hudson, Bill Maher, Kelly Clarkson, all talk show hosts just, with a lot of heat on them at the moment. So I'm going to be looking into that for you guys. And, this is a first episode, so please bear with me. There's going to be a lot of growing pains. I said a lot, but, there'll be some. There don't have to be that many. Guys, before I want to talk about any of these things, I would really like to dive into, with you, a little bit about my morning anti-anxiety routine. So I am somebody who I lead with my stomach, with my feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel it there before I feel anything anywhere else. So this morning, I actually woke up earlier than I wanted to. And, the stomach started going. And it's not usually a hunger thing. It's usually like, I started stressing out about, what was it today? I'm trying to think about what it was today. Well, actually, this morning was interesting because I got up a little early, checked my phone too early. I shouldn't have checked my phone as soon as I got up. That's basically what it was. And then I think I just started thinking about things. It was actually very specifically the NASA press release and press conference they had about UAP. I'm going to go into that in a totally different episode, but that was what was on my mind this morning. And, guys, when I'm in that place of, oh no, I only have a few hours, it's that weird space where you're like, if I go fully back to sleep, am I going to wake up tomorrow? Is this going to screw everything up? Well, I decided that I needed the sleep no matter what. So I did a tiny bit of cannabis. I smoked just a tiny little bit, and it was just enough to turn my brain off, and I went right back to sleep for the next 2 hours, which is exactly what I needed. And, woke up just refreshed, ready to prep for today's show. And part of what I like to do first thing in the morning is get some lemon water with a little Celtic sea salt in it in my stomach. Because I don't know about you, but I can't eat first thing. It's like, it's a lot. I'm already trying to convince myself that I'm happy to be here. Like, don't also make me like chew, swallow. So, I do find that a morning smoothie, I can just until lunch, I'm just nursing that thing. It's got protein. It's got mushroom adaptogens like lion's mane and all these, these nice little mixes. I I get those from Four Sigmatic, actually. I don't have a sponsorship from them, but guys, I'm going to tell you everything that I actually genuinely use and like. But yeah, I use their little mushroom adaptogen powder, and you guys, Future Compounds CBD. I don't know how well versed you are with CBD dosing. There's so much confusion and I think among people about what dose they should be taking, and Future Compounds is actually a CBD company I found that gives you the amount that you should be having, because you should be having a lot more than most of these CBD companies are giving you. I think it's like 100. I'm not even going to numbers because I will say it wrong. But if you follow Future Compounds on YouTube or any of their social media, they give a lot of great information. And I take a morning CBD drop, under the tongue, my dose, and then that plus my coffee with a little cayenne pepper, turmeric, and, cinnamon, a little brown sugar. Not gonna lie, I keep it a little sweet. I can't help it. That kind of gets me from spinning, because you start off, I feel like when I wake up, I feel like, when an astronaut just like descends in a parachute and smashes into the ocean, and then they like open the hatch. That's what waking up feels like to me. I'm like, what the hell is out here? Is it a great white shark that's going to eat me? Or is it a genie in a lamp who's going to be my wife in Cocoa Beach? Ha ha ha. That's right. Okay, guys. So that was, my morning anti-anxiety routine. The other thing I did want to tell you, a little recommendation. So I didn't do this in this morning necessarily, but when I was prepping for today's show, when I was pulling my little notes together and thinking about what I wanted to discuss, I was looking for a playlist that I could listen to while I work. Now this is, oh boy, it has taken me a long time to figure out what music I can listen to and focus on writing, because I can't listen to anything with words. I will get sucked into the words so fast, and I just get too distracted. And also the music can't be too engaging if there's no lyrics. Like I still, please don't take me on an emotional journey that's like too much, because I'm getting sucked into it. And then next thing I know, I'm like crying gently. I'm like, oh my God, that was such a good opera. No, I can't do that. I need it like just the right amount of interesting, but also repetitive. So like those lo-fi beats, those really suck me in. So I found this on Spotify, ADHD Hyperfixation playlist. Guys, I'm not rewriting, the manual on this one. Like I literally just Googled ADHD playlist and that's what came up. But honestly, it was really, really good. So I want you to, if you feel like feeling the vibe that I had when I was preparing this, you can listen to this playlist and just fully get in there. But I feel like it's, this passion for creating the perfect sound situation. By the way, I'm going to be looking down and up a lot because I have a laptop here. I've prepped some things, but I like to keep it loose. I've done a lot of improv, and it's definitely my comfort zone. But yeah, back to the sound thing and ADHD, and I'm constantly thinking of ways to create an environment in which I can get my hyper focus on. I was realizing like this show specifically, when I was listening to some elevator music that I thought I was going to use for this, I was getting very inspired and thinking to myself how much a little background music just can soften some. I don't know if you can hear that airplane, but I'm going to leave it in because it's newsworthy. But I really love how much it can soften a situation. Like I like imagining that maybe somebody's going to be listening to this to fall asleep. And, you really can, because I get a little rambly at times, and I'm trying to speak loud enough, but I won't jar you with anything too exciting. This news is kind of wacky as it is. I don't think I need to add to it. But yeah, I just, I'm realizing how much music does play a role in my mental health and like helping me just relax and actually focus, how I can use it as a tool. I think I saw somebody posted somewhere on Instagram. I think it was like this young autistic educator talking about how if you're struggling, it's important to remember your sensory needs, your audio sensory needs. Ask yourself, in what ways am I being understimulated, and in what ways am I being overstimulated? And I thought, when I first heard that, I was like, oh wow, I've literally never considered that before. And once I did consider it, it was so much easier for me to create scenarios in which I could focus. Because I used to just think, oh, muscle through, figure it out. But then, like, why not? To quote my optometrist, hey, why strain when you don't need to? That's what I was asking about, how reading glasses worked. And he said, don't strain. And I'm trying not to. I wanted to ask you a question. With the listening of music, so I do that a lot, but like, anybody else getting like anxiety over reading these things about how like, oh, should we be putting our AirPods in our ears for that long? Like, is that, what is it, electromagnetic something or other, or, you know, some sort of radiation coming from those, and how close it is to your brain? And I'm just like, you know, like, can it ever be easy? But yeah, sorry, I was just like fiddling with the camera. I may or may not cut that out because, you know, cinema verite, guys, keeping it real. So when I'm working at my desk, I have these over-the-ear headphones. So what's the best option for, like, are over-the-ear Bluetooth headphones less bad for your brain than the ones inside? I'm assuming yes. I mean, I could Google this, you know, but if anybody has like a good suggestion for like a mobile, oh my God, if that is like a real solution, I'm going to go for that. I'm going to try that. Please give me suggestions. I will accept them all. Well, guys, I'm going to be serious now. You're going to see that. Oh, good Lord. I have just unplugged my computer. One moment. Okay. There we go. Back to telling you why this is going to be so easy for me. I finally get to show off my bachelor's in journalism. Guys, can you believe it? I'm a journalist. Not really. But I'm going to start you with the top stories of the week for me. This first story, as I said before, there is a trigger warning. You know, we'll be talking about a rape trial. And while it does not go into graphic detail, the content matter is still quite disturbing. So if you're not comfortable with that, please jump ahead to the next segment. Go right ahead. And I will be picking up there with the WGA SAG-AFTRA strike updates that I'm going to be filling you in with. But let's get started with a little more of a scripted vibe, guys. So the Danny Masterson trial sentencing. I mean, talk about skeletons. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis were the first castmates of Danny's to really come under fire in all of this, because since Danny Masterson's rape conviction this past May and his sentencing of 30 years to life in prison just last Thursday, letters written by longtime friends, my throat, in support of the TV actor have caused the public to take a closer look at his former co-stars, Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis, Laura Prepon, and Wilmer Valderrama, as well as the role that Scientology may have played in enabling Danny's crimes. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, guys. Longtime friends and co-workers of Masterson, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis took to social media to respond to the publication of letters they wrote to the judge in Masterson's case, hoping to engender leniency during sentencing. While these types of character letters are not unusual in the legal system, the high-profile nature of this case and the severity of the crimes led to a resounding public backlash for the celebrity couple, both before and after their apology Instagram post was published. As if that weren't enough, they have since found themselves embroiled in another unrelated scandal. At least I think it's unrelated so far. This time with the SEC in regards to their Stoner Cat series, in which they both provide their voices amidst claims that the LLC behind the animated show offered investors unregistered crypto asset securities, effectively misrepresenting their NFT and citing their fame and experience in Hollywood production as their contribution to the venture. Other celebrities associated with this fiasco, but none of whom have been individually called out by the SEC, just to be clear, guys. Again, I went to journalism school. Check it out. Include Chris Rock, Seth MacFarlane, and Jane Fonda. But I'm convinced she may not have understood what she was signing up for, right? One of the most stunning responses to the letters written by Kutcher and Kunis is being directed directly to Ashton by Masterson's ex-girlfriend, Chrissy Bixler, one of the three women who accused the actor of rape. Addressing Kutcher directly in an Instagram story, Bixler hints strongly that she is aware of secrets being kept related to some quote-unquote plan regarding Ashton's association with the murder of Ashley Ellerin that he coordinated with her boyfriend at the time, Danny Masterson. So, guys, there's a lot of speculation running rampant. You know, people are going wild with theories that somehow Ashton was involved in the murder, but also, more than anything, I think people are just saying that maybe he's a little bit misrepresenting himself. So there's a lot of leeway for what people are presuming this could possibly be hinting at. Most recently, Kutcher testified as a witness in 2018 in the Hollywood Ripper trial in regards to Ellerin's 2001 murder, reasserting that he came to Ellerin's apartment on the night of the murder as they were going on a date that night, but left when there was no answer, and believed that he saw wine spilled on her carpet when he peeked into her window. According to Kutcher, he never saw Ellerin that night, but claims this is why he touched her apartment door handle, his explanation for the presence of his fingerprints. As for Wilmer Valderrama, while he did not write a letter in support of Masterson, his former personal assistant, Daniel Acuna, I'm not sure, don't see a tilde, did submit a letter that frequently mentioned Valderrama as the recipient of Danny's sage financial advice during their time together filming that 70's show. Adding to the discussion of what sort of behavior was being condoned both publicly and privately in regards to the wildly popular primetime sitcom stars, pop star Demi Lovato recently chatted with Howard Stern about her thoughts on her former relationship with Valderrama, which spanned 2010 until 2016. Lovato was 17 years old when she met the then 29-year-old Valderrama in 2010, but it wasn't until she was 18 that they publicly claimed a romantic relationship. So I don't know that there's any claim that it started before, but that is just the fact. While they were together for 6 years, and Lovato has spoken fondly of their time together in the past, in her most recent interview with Howard Stern on his interview show, she described many of her past relationships with older men as, quote, gross. She told Stern of her teenage years, I think that when you're in those developmental years, you should absolutely not be with somebody that is older than you by that much. It's just unhealthy and toxic. She also noted that she was currently in a relationship with someone close to her own age. Kutcher is facing similar scrutiny, with Bixler unearthing old interviews reminding the public that Mila Kunis was only 14 years old when she started the show back in 1998. The young actress, albeit seeming to joke uncomfortably, expressed discomfort in an interview with Rosie O'Donnell at having to kiss her much older co-stars on screen, while Kutcher laughed nervously on the couch next to her. In another vintage video clip, Kutcher also expressed that he was waiting for the Olsen twins and Hilary Duff to turn 18, back on an episode of his punked prank show in 2003 when he was in his mid-20s. Shortly after the news of Masterson's sentencing broke, Leah Remini, former member of the Church of Scientology and ardent anti-Scientology activist, took to her Twitter account to very publicly cite the judge's ruling as a, quote, indictment on Scientology, explaining in detail the role that the organization played in helping Scientologist Masterson cover up his crimes, according to her. Former That 70's Show star Laura Prepon, like Valderrama and Topher Grace, has remained silent on the matter, but appeared to distance herself from Scientology in 2016, around the time that Masterson's charges were first made public. Christina Ricci, has also spoken on the matter, posting in a story cryptic but very clear support for the victims. And cryptic in the sense that without naming names, she is essentially saying just because you're friends with somebody and you think that they're cool people shouldn't negate a victim's experience. And a lot of people feel this way. What are my thoughts on the situation? Well, of course, I want justice to be served. I want the victims to find justice. And, it really shows that it's a bigger structure that's creating these positions of power that we also should be attacking. Because yes, there's individuals, there's the Harvey Weinsteins of the world, but also there are a lot of people who help keep the Harvey Weinsteins of the world going. And then, that's kind of where I am on this. And I just want to say that it's about recognizing that these positions of fame and power in Hollywood put people who are considered qualified for this level of attention and influence. Like literally think about how much time you spend being influenced by these people on screen based on their physical appearance and perceived charisma. That's basically why they're given the ability to speak to this many people. I mean, basically that's how you end up investing in an NFT, by people who do make pretend for a living, like truly. In other entertainment news, I'd love to talk to you about the latest going on with the WGA SAG after strike, which is basically that a lot of talk shows are catching a lot of heat for deciding that despite the strike, the show simply must go on. Now, the first person that I'm thinking of in this fiasco is Drew Barrymore, who is taking the most flack for being a scab, or strikebreaker, as a lot of people are calling her. In what was supposed to be a show of solidarity with the striking writers and actors, Drew Barrymore posted on her Instagram that she would not be hosting the MTV and Movie Awards. However, that same day, the WGA posted on Twitter that Barrymore's talk show would resume producing new episodes using non-WGA writers. Additionally, audience members have also reported being told that the show is not allowing them to wear any clothing or pins displaying solidarity with the striking WGA, with several audience members saying that they were ejected from the show for doing so. Barrymore asserted in a public response that she's not breaking WGA rules. However, the WGA has struck back that because the show has previously used Guild writers on her show, it is now a struck production. While she might be under fire, Barrymore is not alone. Bill Maher, Jennifer Hudson, Sherry Shepard, Kelly Clarkson, and the hosts of The Talk all plan to resume production with their shows despite the ongoing strike using non-union writers. It's likely they'll cite a similar explanation to Barrymore. And I'll tell you why. This sort of thing happens all the time. Oh my gosh. Like, it is so funny to me how outside of Hollywood, civilians have no idea. Like, this stuff happens all the time. They're constantly looking for workarounds. It's just because we're in a strike that people are even talking about it. It's very funny to me. And I'll tell you why. The reason I know this is the first and only official TV writing job I have ever had in my entire life. And I, tried to do that for like 20 years. Was 3 days I wrote on the Tyra Banks show. Emmy award-winning, fat suit-wearing Tyra Banks show. Yeah, can you believe it? And when I was there, I was like 2006 or 2007. It was so incredibly stressful. I didn't realize that one person was doing all of the work that a room of writers was doing, I believe, for the Ellen DeGeneres show at the same time. The world of non-union TV writing is wild. Like, there's no protections, and I don't know how incentivized the WGA is to try to bring those people into the fold, because as somebody who did it and just could never get into the WGA, it feels like a very exclusive club. So, what I find that the strike is doing is, just showing that this kind of stuff happens all the time. And I also would like to add to that, writing for the Tyra Banks show, a lot of people don't understand how much of reality television, even outside of talk shows, is very scripted. Now, associate producers, segment producers, assistants of all kinds, editors, just to name a few, these are all positions that essentially help to write shows. What the strike is doing is highlighting how much of this writing work is routinely done outside the Guild. That is literally it. And This is why when I hear news of toxic workplace environments on the sets of The Ellen DeGeneres Show, The Kelly Clarkson Show, and Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, most recently, I don't really think to myself, oh, wow, what bad apples are in there ruining it for everyone else? I say, oh, wow, I guess people outside of Hollywood are going to know now, because honestly, these are very open secrets. Like, a lot of people know this. And you know what? This is exactly, my friends, why I left Hollywood to start making my own content. Please remember that these are the faces and personalities that are shaping our opinions on things, ranging from global politics to social norms, granted access into our lives in the most intimate of settings. We've seen them testify in Congress, granted entrance into that chamber because of their fame first, and whatever activist work they have done second. It's no coincidence that the two of the presidents in my lifetime who have contributed most directly to the current chaotic state of journalism, economic and social chaos, both first platformed themselves on the most influential stage in this country at the time: movies and television. Ronald Reagan, with his war on drugs, deregulation of literally everything, the introduction of the Republican fantasy of trickle-down economics, but also, hey, Democrats love that too, and Donald Trump, whose campaign of hate and racism have helped create the aura of violence that surrounds both him and his supporters. Both of these two have significantly helped bring us to the mess that we are in today. And while my disdain for presidents is pretty bipartisan, as someone who has spent 20 plus years seriously examining the entertainment industry inside and out, my goal with this show is to shine a light on exactly how this connection of public opinion shaping in Hollywood helps grease the wheels for legislation in Washington, D.C. that ends up affecting every single one of us. It's not any one party or the other. It is really the rich versus those who are not, the haves and the have-nots. And, I've noticed that when I talk to civilians who have never worked in the industry, I'm still somehow routinely shocked that it's not exactly the Hollywood elite conspiracy theory that seems to be tossed around routinely. It's honestly pretty much playing out in plain sight if you force yourself to break the fourth wall. So guys, I'll be honest with you, that was my first episode, and look, it's unplugging. It's a little dark in here because the truth is I'm filming this the day before. But I actually had intended to also cover some real exciting alien, UFO, UAP news that took place today and actually earlier this week. This has been actually really, really wild, and I'm going to do a different episode for that. I think I'm going to maybe drop it before next Friday because this is too much for me to sit on, but I wasn't able to prep it for this episode. But guys, if you like this, please let me know. Please let me know what topics interest you that you'd like me to delve into, because, I have like these weird pockets of celebrity knowledge that I never get to kick around. So please come back, like, subscribe, and you know what? Do what you can to get that anxiety down. And it's been so nice joining you. I hope that you were able to have a good night's sleep. Make sure that you do. That's it, I think. All right. To everyone on Earth and beyond, this has been Anxiety with Lisa T.